Okay, so this is my PowerPoint on how to use imperatives in Spanish. Imperatives are command forms. So, for example, sit down, eat, live, using verbs. Okay, so now in Spanish we have a slight complication in that we have 4 different sorts of yous. So we have 2 yous, a singular and a plural you if we're being informal, so to people we know, same age as us or younger, or we have singular and plural yous for people we don't know very well, so the formal form, singular and plural. So let's have a look at the informal ones first, and this is the singular version. So this one, we take the he, she, it form of the verb in the present tense. If you don't remember how to do that, er and ir verbs end in e, or ar verbs end in a. Okay, I know it says he, she, it form of the verb, but it is the you form when we're doing this one. So I'll give you some examples. So buy, for example, we take the verb comprar, take the ar off, and add a on the end. So compra would be buy. So if you're talking to one person that you know really well. Eat, we know is comer, take the er off and we put e back, come. And live, vivir, take the er off and add I on the end, add e on the end. Okay. Now if you didn't know, to get the upside down exclamation marks, if you put numlock on your computer, on the number keypad on the right, or wherever your number keypad is, and then you press the Alt key down on the left and hold it down and type 173, then release the Alt key, you'll find you get an upside down exclamation mark. Now those are regular ones. There are a few irregular ones. There's a couple here that I'm going to give you. Hacer is to do, or make. So hath would be do or make. Poner, to put, would be pon, which means put. Okay, and if you ever look at your grammar notes, you should be able to get a list of the other ones. So that's positive singular informal. So now we're doing negative singular informal. This is when we say don't do something. So if you know the present subjunctive, actually this would be quite easy for you. If you don't, just learn this rule for this. So what we do is we take the I form in the present tense, which always ends in O, then we remove the O, and then we add the following endings. So if it's an AR verb, we take the AR off, and we add the ES, which in the subjunctive is the U form, singular form. ER and IR, take ER and IR off and add AS, which again is the U singular form. So let's have a look at this one. So no tengas miedo, don't be afraid. So it comes from the verb tener. This is slightly irregular in the present tense, and it goes to tengo, but we still use the same rules as we have here. So we take the O off, because it's an ER verb. We said ER and IR verbs, we put AS on the end, so we put as on the end. So no tengas miedo, don't you be afraid, literally, but we just translate it as don't be afraid. Next one, no hagas tus deberes, don't do your homework now. Ahora, sorry, I missed that one up. So hacer is to do or to make. First person hago. Take the O off and put AS on the end, so it becomes hagas. I forgot to put the exclamation marks on these, so make sure you do that when you do yours. Another example here. So we've got no compres comida basura. Don't buy junk food. Don't you buy junk food. Comprar, AR off. We said AR verbs, we put ES on the end after we've taken the O off. So we O off, ES on the end, and then we got, and then we put not before it's for the negative form. So this is just for the negative form, not for the positive. You need to go back to the other slide for the positive. Okay. So now we want positive plural informal. So this is when you're talking to people you know really well, that are the same age as you and younger than you, but lots of people this time, not just one person. So we take the infinitive, which are the 2 forms, so to do, to make, to play, etc. And we take the AR, ER and I off the end, and then we add the following endings. So if it's an AR verb, we take the AR off and add ath. So comprar will become compraz, buy. For ER, we take the ER off and add eth. So for comer, for example, it would be cometh, eat. And for IR verbs, we take the IR off and put eth. So subir will become subith, go up. Okay. So now we're going to go on to negative plural. This is similar to the negative singular. Again, if you know the subjunctive, this would be quite easy for you. If not, just learn this rule. So for the negative singular form, we just take the I form in the present tense again, and we take the O off, remove the O, and add. So if it's an AR verb, We take the O off and add EIS, or you could just take the AR off and add EIS. Those people know the present subjunctive. This is the U plural form in the present subjunctive, informal. So comprar, take the AR off. If it had an O, take the O off. It comes no compres. Remember, this is the negative form. No compres nada. Don't buy anything. And ER and IR verbs, again, take the ER and IR off, or if we're doing this rule up here, we take the O off in the present tense. And we add ice on the end. So we've got comer. If we take the ER off, we put no lo comáis, don't eat it. Vivir, take the IR off and put ice again. So no viváis allí, don't live there. Okay, so that's how you do the negative, plural, informal forms. Okay, so let's have a look at this one now. This is the negative and positive, plural and singular forms for the formal forms. Now I've put them all together because they're formed in almost the same way. So these refer to people who are older than you, people you don't know, and it's a polite form. So again, if you know subjunctive, this will be quite easy. So all forms, you take the present tense in the I form, you remove the O. So this is negative and positive, so whether you put no or don't put the no before it. And for the singular forms, and if you know the subjunctive, this will be fairly easy. If not, just learn this rule. So AR verbs, because it ends in O, we take the O off and add an E. And for ER and IR, we take the O off and add A. So if originally in the infinitive it ends in ER or IR, we put A on the end. Originally in the infinitive it ends in AR, we put E on the end. And again, if you know the subjunctive, it's the same as the he, she, and it, and you singular formal endings in the present subjunctive. And exactly the same for the negatives, we just put no before them. So let's have a look at an example. So no coma and coma from comer. So we see that the endings are exactly the same. Don't eat or eat. No compre or compre, don't buy or buy. So that's the singular form. Okay, so the plural forms for AR verbs, if originally they were AR verbs, take that O off, or take the AR off, put EN. And for ER and IR, take the O off, and then we put AN on the end. And that gives us the U formal plural forms in the negative and the positive. If you know your subjunctive, this is the same as the they form in the present subjunctive. And the same for positive and negative commands, so don't and do something. So some examples. No coman or coman, don't eat or eat. No compren or compren, don't buy or buy. Okay, right, let's move on. Oh, sorry, forgot about those. The regulars. Just be careful that some of them, if you take it back to the I form here, like in the present subjunctive, for example, tener in the I form is tengo, so we take the O off and we get tenga or tengan because it ends in ER originally. Or decir in the I form starts with digo, so we'd take the O off and we'd add an A and AN if it was singular or plural, diga or digan. Okay, some practice now then. So this one's informal practice only, singular and plural and negative and positive. So there's 10 to do. Have a go and pause it and then we'll go over the answers in a minute. Okay, and I've said in brackets whether I want you to put it in the singular or the plural forms, and don't forget where I've put it don't. You need to have a think about the negative forms as well. Okay. Right, let's go through the answers. Number 1 would be juega. Remember, jugar is radical changing, so juega, the he, she, and it form. Next one, plural, bailad. Next one, añade. Now, there's lots of verbs for to try, so you might have used any of these. Intenta, trata de, or prueba. Prueba, radical changing. Not sure how radical changing or stem changing verbs work. Have a look at my video on that one. Don't sing. No cantes. Remember, subjunctive. If you know your subjunctive or those reversed endings there. Number 6. Write, plural. Escribid. Don't smoke. Sorry, don't write. No escribas. Number 8. No fumes. Remember, these were IR verbs originally. So escribir, IR verb. Fumar was the AR verb. Don't drink, it was an ER verb. Remember, we put the other ending on. And then the last one, send, mandad or enviar. Okay, let's have a look at formal ones now. Now you might see these more than the informal ones, possibly. I've used exactly the same verbs, more or less. This time, you put them in the formal forms. So again, have a look at your notes and try and do that. Use your dictionary if you need to, apart from number 3, where I've given you the verb. Pause it now, and then we'll go through the answers. Okay, so the first one would be aga. Remember, hacer is irregular in the I form, it goes to hago. So we take the O off, and then we put the he, she, and it, or you, formal, singular one on the end, which is just an A, so aga. Dance, bailen, plural form. Añada, añadir, IR verb here. Again, we've got those 3 different verbs. So intentar would go to intente, tratar de would go to trate de, and probar would go to pruebe de. Note here that the radical changing still stays, because we're still only using the I form in the present tense, and then removing the O, and then putting the right ending on the end. Okay, again, if you're not sure, have a look at my radical changing or stem changing verbs video. Next one, no cante, singular form. Negative, doesn't make any difference to the ending for these formal ones. Escriban, for the plural. No escriba, remember escribir is our IR verb. I forgot to say cantar is our AR verb there. 8, no fumen, from fumar. No beba, from beber. And the last one, manden or envien, from enviar. Okay, rewind it back if you're still not sure. Otherwise, I think you're okay.